This is the right forearm. This is the right upper leg.
This was the moment when the parents of 17-year-old Brayla Stone realized that she had been brutally gunned down in her car.
And I'm on the walking trail behind my house, and there's a car parked here, just probably a couple hundred feet off of Gap Creek Drive, and there's a black woman in there, and she's dead.
I want to make sure.
No, but I'm just going to be honest with you. We know who did it. And I know we can't say that, but we do. We know who did it.
You can say
we know who did it. We know who did it.
On the afternoon of June 25th, 2020, officers are dispatched to a walking trail in the peaceful suburb of Sherwood, Arkansas, after a man reports spotting a dead body in a car. Inside, officers discovered the remains of a woman who appeared to have been shot in the head. The vehicle reeked of bleach, and there were discolored spots around the interior suggesting that someone had tried to clean up the scene. It was later revealed that Brayla's killer wasn't a random stranger, but rather someone far closer to her than anyone could have ever imagined. Brayla's friends and family had no idea who could have done something like this to her. However, the main suspect quickly came onto investigators' radar after they received a call from the boss of Brayla's boyfriend, Trevone Miller, who worked at Arby's. She informed the police that the evening before Brayla's body was found, Trevone called her, frantically repeating, and I quote, "Miss Kia, I fucked up, and I fucked up big time." When she saw on the local news that a body had been discovered, she knew she had to report everything to the police. A few days later, they start interviewing Brayla's closest friends.
And one thing about Brayla, he was always a communicator. And when I say that, I say, Rakia told me on her phone a couple of months ago, she was like, "Mama, I don't care where Brayla go and who he with, he let me know. He let me know where he's going. He let me know where he's doing." So, because he was smart. He knew that the life he lived wasn't the best. And so he would do that. And that's how we knew soon it was something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because he always communicates that phone, that's his life. It's never dead. I have never called Brayla and it went to voicemail. Never.
And they point the finger directly at Trevone.
What I'm going to need, ladies. Y'all were closer to him, from what I understand, than anybody else, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much?
No, seriously. These are his diaries. They would know what nobody else.
What I want y'all to do is think about other friends that he hung around, people he talked about. Because later on, I'm going to get y'all to write these things down for me, okay? Because like I told Mom and Dad on the phone, I'm not here to do a half investigation. Ooh, I think I got somebody and try to arrest them.
No.
I want to make sure.
No, but I'm just going to be honest with you. We know who did it. And I know we can't say that, but we do. We know who did it.
You can say...
We know who did it. We know who did it. And Trevone Miller killed our cousin. He killed him. He did it. Once she talks to you, once they tell you, you'll know too, because it's right here. Right. Like I say, brother, every step he told these ladies.
He's at the top of my list.
Well, we was together all day, just like we always usually be. And then, like, we had got to Wingstop, and this girl, Tia Patterson's best friend called Brayla and was telling him how she was like, "Don't be mad at me about, because I don't miss her no more either," or whatever. And the best friend revealed that Trey and the Tia girl had.
Just a day before the discovery of her body, her friends say they ran into a girl named Tion, who Trevone had been seeing behind Brayla's back.
Okay, but Trevone was supposedly seeing her as well. Okay, I'm caught up now.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
And they hurt Brayla because it's like he said he asked her and she said no. He said he asked her and she was saying no, but once they got into it, she was like, "Yeah, that's what I did it. Trying to confess she did it." And that's when Brayla was like, "What should I do? What should I do?" I'm like, "Don't do nothing. Just don't do nothing because it's already enough going on. Just don't do nothing." And he was like, "I want to do something."
You got tucked up?
He was like, "No, I want to do something. They have, because they've been lying to me." And so that's when We stopped at the gas station. He did get her in the bathroom, and he drove to Sherwood and pulled up to RV's, and that's when he parked. And
About what time was it? Remember?
I want to say it was about around 6 or 7 p.m.
Okay.
And he pulled up, he got the car, and just so happened Trey be right.
Upon the realization that Trevone had been two-timing her, Brayla showed up at his job to try to confront him, but he ran away. Later that same evening, she attempts to meet up with him at his home. And that's when things take a horrible turn.
And so when he called me right back, he was like, girl, you taking too long to come outside. I said,
So was he at his house?
That's what he said. He was outside his house waiting on him to come. He was like, okay, stay on the phone with me until you get in the car. And I'm like, okay. And then I stayed on the phone. He was like, okay, here you come. I'm going back. And that was the last time I heard from him. And like shortly afterwards, he no more than 30 seconds after he hung up the phone, he had texted me. He was like, I'm really not up for this. And I was like, you good? Nothing. And I never heard from him. Where he was found at, Brandon took me back there.
Do what now?
Where he was found, he took me back there, Brandon. When Trey wrecked his car, he was like, he had, I guess it was one of them days where he rode past it, rode past his house. And his car went at home, so he was like, I know all Trey little places that he be, like, places. Yeah. And so he took me back there, and I was like, y'all be back here? He was like, yeah.
Knowing that Trevone was the last person to be with Brayla, and he would frequently take her to the place that her body was later discovered, he becomes the main suspect. Investigators speak with the other woman that he'd been seeing, Tion, to get her side of the story. She shared that Brayla showed up to her work threatening her, but claimed she had no information about her murder and didn't believe Trevone did it. Still, officers are suspicious of her story, and once they begin speaking with her friends, it becomes clear that those suspicions are well-founded.
I forgot the dude's name, but she told him, and then she was like 3 days later, Tion got a call saying the brother was dead.
Who called Tion and told her that Brayla was dead? No?
No, I don't know who the dude is. That's what she talked. She talked to some dude. It was somebody.
Is it the same person supposed to kill her? Killed her?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Name Trey ring a bell?
Yeah. Rings a big bell.
Is that the person you're talking about?
Right. Yeah, most likely.
Her cousin, Malik, tells officers that Trevone called before and after the murder to confess his crimes to Tion. Officers try to get him to clarify these statements a second time.
Okay. So you're telling me that the person that killed Brayla called Tion and said he's dead? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Did that person say they killed him?
No, he ain't. Now, Trey didn't say he killed. Trey didn't say nothing about he killed her.
You know Trey?
No, I don't know Trey, but I know that Brayla was shiesty, and Trey was like trying to keep down low that he was gay because he was trying to mess with Tion.
Mm-hmm.
And Trey and Brayla did some things, and Brayla had something over Trey's head and didn't like the fact that Trey and Tion was messing with each other. So Tion and Trey decided not to mess with each other, and Brayla and Trey was messing with each other. That's what I think it was. It was all about some jealousy type.
So Tion and Trey, did they ever have anything going on?
They didn't. They just started. They was like, we just gonna be friends. They didn't even try to get a chance to even get started on it.
Okay. But Brayla went after Tion, is what you said.
Yeah, because some other situation happened. Some internet beef and something happened.
Okay.
The investigators have led Malik into illuminating Trevone's possible motive. Now they're beginning to understand the depths of the tension brewing between the three people involved. Cops start pushing him a little harder to get closer to the whole truth.
I'm investigating Brayla's homicide. I want to find out who did it. Family wants to know who did it. And I'm going to find out. And I'm going to put this out there. If you were involved, and I find out, I will come after you just as bad as I would the person that actually killed Brayla. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So if you know anything, you let me know. I'm going to give you one of my cards. You can call me up if you find out anything.
Okay.
Deal?
A few minutes later, Malik gets even chattier. This time, it's about Brayla's characteristics, though.
She was known. She was known for exposing a lot of men.
Okay.
For being low-key gay. So he was targeted by a lot of folks. A lot of people was targeted, like, it was warming his head. So, I mean, he used to say that, I just know, all I know was for him exposing them.
He isn't the only one who's heard this rumor about Brayla. Quite a few people witnessed her lives on social media where she would expose men from Little Rock, Arkansas for hooking up with her.
Who is this? Nah, it ain't CJ. It ain't CJ. It ain't CJ. Come on, get the guess in. Nah, for real though, for real, chill out. Somebody done said the goddamn name. Yeah, nah, Tia, you should know him real well. If you out here.
Brayla has her followers guess who she's referring to like a game, and then sneaks in little clips of the men that she's engaging with. But many of these men were in the closet, and they were terrified to have this information leaked. Social media was also the place where Malik says he found out what happened to Brayla.
But on this killer situation, what I was told was that he was on the way to Trey House, or last place he said he was going was to Trey House. And when he got to Trey House, I guess, I don't know what happened.
And who told you that?
He was on, I guess like, the internet. This is all on the internet. Last place he said he was going was to Trey House.
What do you mean by the internet? I mean,
like they make Little Rock Shade Room. They make fake pages to tell fake news or the news what's going on. It's like somebody is in the loop telling what's going on. So they're making a page. They made a page and did all that stuff to see what really happened. But the last person I know, or the last place or thing I heard was brother was going to Trey House to smoke, and I was with my cousin 3 days later, Tion.
who's your cousin?
Tion Patterson. And we got a phone call saying that brother was dead.
Malik spills that he discovered the information about Trevone being the last person to be seen with Brayla from a social media page. Still up today, locals used the page to find out more about her murder in real time, and the community was really putting the pieces together. First, they realized that Trevone lives where Brayla's body was found. Then people realized that Trevone has deactivated all his social media accounts. One of Brayla's friends shared a photo of their texts from that night on the page, desperately begging them to come get her fast and that she was at Trevone's house. Knowing that Brayla outed men on social media and that Trevone was the last person to be with her, people start to believe that they've uncovered his motive. They hypothesize that he murdered Brayla to prevent her from exposing him.
We had went and got some Mighty Crabs, and she was on the phone with her friend. I know his name was Trey, because she got friend his name was Trey. And he just seemed like he was just in distress. Like he kept saying he wanted to kill himself. So basically he was just saying that he was gonna kill him, basically. Okay. He was saying he was gonna kill him. And we were telling him that that's not right, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then he started being obsessive about it, and then that's when she was telling him not to do it. And then he just kept blowing her phone up throughout the night, and she didn't want to deal with it, so she just been ignoring it. And that's when we had found out the next day that
Officers know that Tion is hiding information, and thus they bring her back in for a second round of questioning. This time, she sheds a little more light on Trevone's potential motives.
Trevone he texted me and said, well, why is Brayla saying that I told Brayla that me and you, like, that I told Brayla that I had sex with Trevone. Now, the screenshots that I showed you, that's what I told him. And basically, we just telling him, like, it don't matter. Like, because he was telling me about the situation that he didn't know that it was a boy and stuff like that. Where I was like, well, I wouldn't look at you any different. I don't care.
What do you mean he didn't?
He didn't know. I guess like a year ago, he didn't know that it was a dude.
Is this through text or
over the phone? He didn't know that it was a dude.
You see, Brayla was actually a transgender woman, and Trevone was very ashamed of having a relationship with her because of this. He didn't want people to think that he was gay. Tion explained that Trevone was very distressed about the situation on the phone with her.
He was talking about, and then he kind of like suicidal. So
what do you mean by that?
Like his life is over. Like they saying like his life is over. And he's like he don't know what he's gonna do. Like they saying like everybody knows him. So if he get exposed.
Tion tries to tell the officers that she doesn't know anything else about the situation, but they aren't playing games anymore, and they get serious with her.
That's it?
Yeah.
I brought you in here because I thought, you know what, she's going to tell me the truth this time. No, listen here. Listen here. You glossed over. There's a lot of things I done found out today, okay? I gave you the opportunity to tell me the truth. And I'm here, listen to me. I'm here to save your ass, okay? I'm trying to make you look like not conspiracy to commit murder. You understand? Because right now, that's what it looks like. Okay? Murder. You ready to face that?
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay, then you're not being completely honest with me. Tell me about what y'all talked about after the incident at your work. You didn't tell me about that. I already know about that.
After work?
Yeah, you and Trey talked.
After work?
After work, when Brayla came up to your job.
Oh.
Yeah, you forgot about that, didn't you?
I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of things you forgot to tell me that I already found out today. So I want you to tell me everything. Every single conversation, listen to me, every single conversation y'all had and everything that y'all said to each other. And it needs to start right now.
I would not.
This is your life. Right now is your life. What you do right here will affect the rest of your life. You can either be out there doing what you live in life, or you can be behind bars. It's up to you.
I didn't. Well, to be honest, I really forgot about this.
You need to start right now.
I know that I told him that Brayden pulled up to my job trying to fight me.
And what did he say?
I don't really remember.
Yes, you do. Right now is the time. Okay.
I don't. If you could remind me.
You want to take a charge for him, go ahead.
I'm not.
I'll walk out that door right now. I'll walk out that door right now. Okay. Or you could tell the truth right. Listen, we're interviewing other people too.
Okay.
So you got to think what they're going to say, because you may have received a few phone calls and talked about it.
Okay.
And a lot of people may have talked about it. So you might want to come clean right now.
I mean,
right now.
And I really wouldn't remember, to be honest. Like, sir, like, can you please sit down? I don't remember.
I gave you a chance, and I'm trying to save your life right here. You're the one that's going to take it. You're the one that's going to take this charge. Then you're going to be honest with me right now, because you're wasting my damn time. You understand? You're wasting my time over your life.
Sir,
you won't even tell me what he told you.
I don't even remember.
You know what he told you? He told you what he was going to do, and then he called you a second time a few days later and said what he did. And you know that, so go on and talk about it right now. Now's the time. Now's the time. This is your life here.
Okay, but what if he did?
Now is
the officer's tactic of putting heavy pressure on Tion and making her feel like she's going to be arrested works. Her walls start breaking down as the truth about what she really knows slowly comes out.
Like,
what did he say exactly?
He's like gonna kill her or shoot her on the phone, and like we all in the room, and we just like, nah, like, you know what I'm saying, like, that's dumb, like, just go home, like, take a bath, relax, like, you know, think about it, you know what I'm saying, like, think about, like, there's more life than doing all this extra stuff. So he's like, nah, man, nah, like, it's just gonna have to be done, it's just gonna have to.
You're gonna kill her.
You say you're gonna have to, like, shoot her or something, like. I just know that he said that he was gonna call Braylon to the house. That's really all I remember, we was just like, not, because first we, saying, people play. We didn't think he was like, how, you playing, like people, you're not really gonna do that. You just, talking. You just trying to get your emotions out. And you say, nah, but just tell, and then he can say, tell my brother, my girl, I love them. I'm like, no, like, you do that. And then I'm just like, I'm just gonna have to shoot.
Just going to shoot?
Just shoot, like.
Tion insists that she and her friends didn't take these threats seriously and believed that Trevone was only going to speak with Brayla. Trevone continued to call Tion repeatedly, but she didn't answer until the next day, at which point he started saying even more ambiguous, disturbing things.
He asked me the Brayla family, she basically is they gonna do something? I'm like, I don't know.
Is Brayla dead at this point? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know. And then he was basically saying something like all this stuff burnt up and bleached. So I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, is Brayla family? I'm like, I don't know. I don't.
So
I know Brayla. I only know Brayla for
when you asked him, what are you talking about with the bleach and burnt up?
And he was like, I'm just telling you so you won't be in the loop. I'm like, my exact quotation, I'm like, okay.
What do you think he meant by the bleach?
Cause I don't know, I don't do stuff like that.
It's fine. I didn't say.
Okay, yeah, but I'm like, I don't.
I'm just asking, what do you think he meant?
People do a lot of stuff with bleach.
What do they do with bleach?
I don't know.
What do you?
Murder stuff.
Trevone instructs Tion to delete all their conversations. And not long after the suspicious phone call, she sees on social media that Brayla has been murdered. Since details about the presence of bleach being found in the car was never released to the public, investigators realized that this is their smoking gun. Trevone Miller is their man. Although the police are sure they know that it was Trevone who pulled the trigger and ended Brayla's life, they still weren't sure about Tion's role. They needed to figure out whether she had knowledge of the crime before or after it was committed.
Did he ever tell you that pretty much done what he did? I think he did. You need to talk about that.
But I'm saying I'm trying to, but you're kind of talking over me. But I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, do you know what I'm saying? Do you do that? Because when the last time I talked to him, he was like, oh, he's coming over here to talk. I'm thinking maybe he got through what I told you. But then he asked me, was Brayla saying with the stuff? All that stuff burnt and bleached. And he don't want me in, so I won't be in the loop or something. And I was confused, what are you talking about, the loop? And, I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, okay. At the time, it didn't seem real. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem real. So I'm like, maybe he just, really, real deal, talking, just saying shit. But
Tion insists that she didn't take Trevone seriously or know that he was planning a murder. It wasn't until she saw people posting about the crime on social media that she made the horrible realization. And the officer seems to believe her.
And then once I found out, people, posting on the internet, I'm like, oh.
How long was it from that conversation with him to when you found out on the internet?
About an hour. And this number.
This is the number he was calling from, correct?
Yes, sir.
While Tion puts on a hard exterior and tries to distance herself from the situation, the officer forces her to realize that cooperating is her only option outside of handcuffs.
Okay.
You're going to have to write out a statement for me of all this.
Well, I don't want to be in court, to be honest.
Listen to me.
This
is our second interview we had to do with you.
I know.
You should have told us the truth up front. We could have charged you.
But I didn't think he was capable of nothing like that.
I know. I didn't say that you wanted him to do this. I didn't say you wanted any of this to happen. But what you got to do now is save your own life.
Yeah,
He screwed his own life.
And I didn't know
like I
anything
told
about
you
that
before, he's been in other
2016,
stuff
so-
before. He screwed his own life. You didn't have anything to do with that. But what you got to do right now is take care of yourself. You got to think about what your father would tell you right now.
But
You
I
want
didn't
to
know
take a
anything
charge
about,
for him or not? Then you're going to write a statement.
I didn't know anything about that.
I know you
2016, so.
But lying to us when you should have told us the first time.
But I told you I didn't think
No.
you was capable of
but
anything
you
like
didn't-
that, and I
But
don't.
you didn't tell us any of this. You should have. And you know that. And that's why we're having to do a second interview with you.
Okay.
So now it's time to be honest.
Finally understanding that it's her only option, Tion fills out a full statement explaining everything that Trevone has said to her over the phone. A very clear picture of the crime is forming for investigators. Trevone Miller was having a sexual relationship with Brayla, and he was terrified that she was going to expose him. So he asked to talk, brought her to a place that they would go to hook up, and he turned a gun on her. Then, after committing the crime, he called multiple witnesses and confessed ambiguous details of the event. On July 8, 2020, less than 2 weeks after Brayla's body was discovered, Trevone Miller was arrested by the Sherwood Police Department. A little over a year after his arrest, Trevone finally received his sentence. In Arkansas, Trevone could have received the death penalty for killing Brayla. Instead, the judge sentenced him to 50 years in prison. Now, if you think this case was horrific, you need to check out my video on the evil husband who thought he could get away with murdering his wife.